So, the first thing I want to do with this chapter is show you something very, very special. Yeah. Those are Nyla's stats, you're not hallucinating. That's a 20 might weapon. That is a 232% hit rate. She can transform at will. She has this. And to add insult to injury, she can also turn enemies to stone. This is the power of Laguz Royals. Oh boy, Nyla, our first Laguz Royal, and our first of 2 I win buttons for the end of part 1. The first thing you should know about Laguz Royals is they all have the skill Form Shift, which lets them transform at will and always stay transformed. As such, they are not subject to any of the normal weaknesses of Laguz. They also have unique Royal versions of their class, which have higher caps, and unique Great versions of their weapons, in Nyla's case, Great Fang, that are much stronger than normal Laguz. They all start with their mastery skills, so in Nyla's case she has the ultimate skill of Wolves, enemy instantly dies. In terms of stats, Nyla's are pretty high in strength, speed, and defense, although that defense is going to look a little low by endgame, and her main asset is her ridiculously overkilled skill stat, which lets her activate enemy instantly dies much more often. Nyla's growths are actually pretty bad. It's best to bonus experience her all the time, but her base stats are all only a few points off capped anyway, so it's not like that really matters. Nyla also comes with a very silly exclusive skill called Glare. It has a pretty low chance of hitting, but if it works, it turns the target to stone. Forever. Yes, forever. The enemy becomes a complete non-threat for the rest of the chapter, and it cannot be cured outside of a restore staff. Though being turned to stone is not the same as being dead, so in a route chapter you will have to make sure to finish off the enemy. And I guess I'm obliged to mention that if you petrify a priest, their staff will still heal them every turn, so you can just wail on them for free experience. Sadly, this is one of the best ways to train Fiona. Though be aware that when attacking a petrified enemy, their defense is treated as 10 points higher than their actual stats show. So yeah, besides the lack of 1 to 2 range, Nyla's pretty much perfect at this point in the game. Any enemy will die to her, she's completely invincible, and if you overuse her, the rest of part 1 is incredibly easy. However, it will cost the Dawn Brigade valuable experience, so I don't recommend that. Nyla should only be relied on as a last resort. Now, when she returns, that's no longer a factor. Feel free to use her as much as you want, and Nyla's definitely one of the best characters to bring to endgame. Compared to other Laguz Royals, Nyla is solid all round. There are other Royals who are stronger or faster than her, but very few characters can claim to have 40 strength, speed, and defense all at the same time. In summary, Nyla is great later, but at this point, she should be treated as a panic button for when you have no other options. So, look at Nyla's stats now. They're kind of a taste of what we'll be like in 3rd tier. Also, we have Raphael. I should probably talk about him. Holy crap, that luck. Raphael is the first Heron we'll be getting in this game, and I did say first, we will be seeing multiple Herons in this one. And because of that, every Heron was given their own unique gimmick, although none of them directly compete with each other until endgame. Raphael's gimmick is that, since his wings were injured a long time ago, he's stuck with only 5 movement, both in human form and transformed, can't fly, and doesn't have Canto. So his mobility is easily the worst of the Herons. To compensate though, Raphael's chants always affect all adjacent allies, so up to 4 characters, regardless of whether he's transformed or not. Nowadays, he tends to be regarded as the best of the Herons because of this. Even though his movement sucks, being able to refresh 4 allies every turn without needing to transform is just so useful that it's very hard to compete with. One other change to Herons in Radiant Dawn is that they now learn different chants as they level up, which do things other than make allies move again. Don't worry though, they all start with Vigor, which is the move again chant. A lot of these chants are interesting in theory, but in practice it's very hard to beat the effect of having allies moving twice in one turn, so you generally don't see them used very often. I'll still cover their effects here though. You have Bliss, which raises an ally's biorhythm to best, and Sorrow, which reduces an enemy's biorhythm to worst. Both of which can be okay, but in practice, having an ally fight twice in one turn is usually more effective than having them fight once with plus 10 accuracy and evasion. Then there's Valor, which raises an allied Laguz's transform gauge to maximum, which sounds amazing, but in practice, I've never seen anyone get a Heron to level 30. And Recovery, which fully restores an ally's HP and status. Again, decent in theory, but it requires you to max out the level of a Heron, which I've never seen happen before, and Vigor is just so good, why wouldn't you use it most of the time? Herons also have Blessing, which works the exact same way it does in Path of Radiance, it's just no longer considered a mastery skill. Overall, Raphael doesn't get much screen time, but for the time you have him, he's amazing. Being able to refresh the movement of up to 4 allies constantly is an effect that should never be underestimated. Now onto this chapter. So here's one of the most annoying things about this map. There's such an insane number of forced deployments that we only have room for 4 people of our own choosing. So, yes, this is going to be bad. Originally, I wanted it to be Aaron, Nolan, Edward, and Zehawk, but then I realized I kind of need the Restore Staff because there are a lot of poison weapons in this chapter. And Zehawk is really useful here. But it might actually have to be, just Edward. I don't normally do this chapter without Zehawk, so this is going to be interesting. Also, here's another bizarre thing about this chapter. For some arbitrary reason, you can't bring Jill. And she would be really useful here. Fiona, you can't bring her, but she wouldn't have been that useful anyway because of the swamp terrain. So, speaking of this map itself, if we go to conditions... So... You seriously think Nyla can die in this chapter? Oh game, that's adorable. Anyway, the real thing you want to pay attention to here is all prisoners die. There are 6 NPC prisoners who are all stuck in this swamp and can't move. I'm gonna be trying to save all of them, even though all you need to save is at least one. Because guess what? There are enemy Wyvern Riders. There are gonna be reinforcement Wyvern Riders. Yeah, we have to save some no movement, die in one hit NPCs who are stuck in a swamp from waves of Wyvern Riders with no flyers of our own, well except Vika, but she hasn't transformed yet. Yeah. This chapter is incredibly irritating. So we also have a bunch of enemies over here. Now, on hard mode, these bandits are actually ridiculously strong. They've got like 18 and everything. They're a real show of just how crazy hard mode is, but on normal mode, they're not that bad. Also have a bunch of mages, another bandit over here. Have a couple of enemies down here. Again, that Wyvern Rider is going to be very annoying. We also have the boss here, Vladimir. Don't know why I just feel like I have to say his name like that. And he's a Thunder Sage, not a Thunder Mage. Doesn't have any skills, though. And for a promoted unit, his stats aren't all that great, so he's not what I'm worried about. Like, Soph can pretty much one-round him. What I am worried about, though, is these enemies, because they will try and walk into the swamp and kill the prisoners. What I like to do is to have Volug and Nyla just run into the swamp and rescue the prisoners as fast as possible, because let's be honest, even carrying someone, Nyla just kills everything. But anyway, in that case though, let's see. Edward and Nolan are going to head up, and Aaron will head down here to be with these ones. He might need to stay on the side though to try and fight these Wyvern Riders, and eventually Edward may need to go here and equip his new Worm Slayer. Yeah, this chapter is a pain. And I think these two, after they try and rescue these NPCs, they'll try and deal with the enemies down here. I need to show the treasure. So, the treasure for this chapter, well, the main one, there's actually 3 coins. but they're a little tricky to point out the locations of. One is like, it's actually a little confusing to see, but there's a coin like around here, I think. There's another coin that's down around these bushes, and then there's another coin that's like around here. Not really sure on the exact coin locations, but I do know that, so let's see, this path through the swamp is there. Around, I think, here-ish is an arm scroll. I'll have to check the exact coordinates, because the map on Serenade's Forest is not too helpful for this treasure. But I know the arm scroll is somewhere around there. But anyway... Oh boy, I'm not looking forward to this one. I'm actually going to save here, because I might have to redo this a few times. I hate this map. I hate this map. I hate this map. I hate this map. Go. Okay, so, true to form, I have failed this a few times now, and I also realized I'm dumb, so I don't even need the Restore Staff because Micaiah's Sacrifice can cure poison, so no Laura, and I'm going to be bringing Z-Hawk. I need all the help that I can get here, and yeah, you being over that side is good. In fact, I might even give you the Worm Slayer. And let's go. So, reason number one why I hate this chapter. You see this Wyvern Rider here? If you don't lure and kill him on the first turn, at least one NPC is guaranteed to die. Yeah. So, you basically have to do one very specific sequence of actions on turn one if you want to save everyone. That is to move Tormod here, make sure that he has Hellfire equipped, and then have Maureen shove him one space down into the Wyvern Rider's range. Like I said, if you don't do that, at least one NPC is guaranteed to die. Because this is just that kind of chapter, now, let's see. I could do that, but I kind of want Z-Hawk to book it towards these NPCs, because this bandit right here, he's going to try and wade through the water to kill this guy, and I need to reach him first, so yeah. I'm going to be fighting this bandit with Aaron now. And you might notice, Aaron's crit rate is a little higher than it used to be. I'll show you why that's the case after this combat is over. And yeah, Aaron's poisoned, but at this point I don't really care. Halberdiers gain the critical +5 skill in this game, though annoyingly it does take up a skill slot. Also, Edward, now being second tier, has upgraded critical +5 to critical +10, which he will hopefully demonstrate at some point in this chapter. So let's, that's enough damage. Yeah, in fact, yeah, that's enough damage. Let's go for that. So here's Nolan's first fight as a warrior. And the warrior victor animation is kind of funny, at least in my opinion. Flex! Sorry, that's just what it always looks like. Okay, now here's the problem. I kind of need Edward to crit on either of these. That will really help. Because you want to kill these bandits quickly, but I guess we can show an A-level converse dialogue. Nolan, don't die. You've been such an inspiration to me. I still need you. I'll always need you. Why? I'm your man. I would never begrudge a request like that. Yeah, that's a great way to react to someone begging you not to die. Don't you just love the support conversations in this game? Anyway, I saw that coming, but that's probably fine, seeing as I'm not sending Micaiah that way. Soth is going to go over... Yeah, he'll go closer, because I might need Soth a little bit later. Depending on how I position things, I sometimes need Soth to rescue Raphael, because otherwise Raphael can kind of die easily. He may have a lot of luck, but he does get doubled by pretty much everything. So that's you gone, and that means, let's see, I can have Micaiah finish off this guy for a lot of experience. I will need to use Manny here, unfortunately. In an earlier attempt, regular light was enough damage. You know, that was probably because I moved Soth later, so you were in support range. Anyway, that's a good amount of experience. And now Z-Hawk, like I said, is going to kind of book it towards these NPCs into the swamp. And Vika... She's going to stay back for now. Sometimes Vika needs to throw herself in front of this guy just to protect him from bandits. now onto these three. So, let's see. In fact, Nyla can probably get there. And I'm okay with a mage being able to attack Raphael. In fact, I'd like a mage to be able to attack Raphael because it's hilarious. You'll see. And then I guess Vola can go here and show off Raphael's amazing power of 4-person vigor, even when he's untransformed. And now you can go ahead and grab that guy. And Vola can go ahead and take him from you, so you can still fight to your ridiculous normal strength. Five damage is more than I thought he was doing. And yes, he gets doubled. And that's the transform meter appearing in battle for the first time. You guys are annoying because you all have ranged weapons, and that's Nyla's one weakness, pretty much. You'll see how ridiculous Nyla is in combat in a moment, but thankfully I have a 100% hit rate against you, but Tormod getting hit here is not good. Like I said though, you have to lure and kill this guy on turn 1. Otherwise, at least one NPC will die. It's just that kind of chapter. So that's first NPC threat gone. Now it's time to deal with NPC threat number 2. That guy. And then NPC threat number 3. This guy. And then it'll be time to deal with NPC threat number 4. Everything. So, yeah, as you can see, this guy is getting kind of close, and Zeark can only move one space in the swamp every turn. Thankfully, so can the Bandit. Next turn, I'll be able to wind edge him, so that's good. Zeark does have a wind edge, right? He does have a wind... Yes, he does. That's good. He has 2 of them, in fact. Alright, now Tormod's going to go ahead and smash this guy. Because sometimes the bandits will intentionally avoid attacking you, and instead prioritize going for the prisoners. But Tormod's really useful here. Like I probably said in his bio, Tormod, despite his non-existent availability, is still very useful for part 1. And that's why I like to keep celerity on him for this chapter, because, yeah, you need to be moving fast to get these NPCs. Now, there's actually 2 bandits coming for you, which is not good. I really want Nyla to try and kill them, but unfortunately she's a little stuck in the swamp right now. I can get Vola down. Hopefully Maureen will get on this. I like to have these bandits suicide themselves into Nyla. But, okay then. So, if okay, Raphael can go either there or there, so I'll need to position people adjacent to those spots. So there or there. One of those spaces is occupied by an enemy, so there's no way that I'll be getting everyone chanted for this turn, but... I think Soth is the one that I need to be chanted for the least, so... I can have Soth go here and... Yep, that is better accuracy, so I'll just do that. You guys are certainly being very accurate, and I can afford to leave Laura out of this chapter because we have a lot of healing items, which is kind of typical of Radiant Dawn in general. In fact, yeah, you spend the vast majority of Part 3 with no staff users at all. You know, in fact, I might actually be able to get 3. This may involve splitting up Edward and Nolan, which normally isn't a good idea, but I just realized I can probably get Edward over to that area and then start wind edging some of these guys. That might help me in the long run. So, like I said, very soon you'll be seeing the true power of Raphael. This is definitely a good first chapter for him to enjoy in. Flex! I will stop doing that, don't worry. Okay, so like I said, this means Edward can now go down here and use a wind edge, even though everyone is going to attack Nyla, because why wouldn't they? I mean, I'm totally okay with physical units attacking Nyla, but anything 1-2 range is not good for her. I would definitely like you to be dealing with Nolan's hand axes rather than Soth's daggers, which will probably not kill you. But Soth's going to head this way, not just because of the treasure, but because of the boss, who Soth is pretty good at killing. I remember, like, in the speedrun version of this, Soth just runs down here and everything here just dies to him on the enemy phase. He takes out the priest on the player phase and then everything else just dies, which is kind of funny. Yes, Vika is going to have to use herself as a body shield soon, because she can't exactly rescue these guys, though Mori might be able to. For now, I guess I'll just sacrifice the poison off you. The good news is that sacrifice does not transfer status onto Micaiah. At one point I thought that's how it worked, but thankfully it doesn't. And strength and defense, that's pretty strange. Yeah, here's the real problem. I need to get... In fact, you're going to try and rescue that NPC. Which will probably result in you not having much to do this chapter, but... It's kind of just how this works. Also, 000. Get used to seeing that when things attack Nyla, because that's pretty much every enemy in this chapter versus Nyla, and in fact every enemy in the entirety of Part 1 versus Nyla. It's funny, for those who don't know, 000 is the emergency phone number in Australia. It's the equivalent of 911. So these enemies are all calling out in distress at how broken Nyla is. Well, I mean, her lack of 1-2 range prevents her from being truly broken, but she's pretty hilarious at this point. Oh, that's not good. Well, at least one of the bandits is doubling back. Did you just intentionally not move a space forward because you want to get out of Zihak's range? At least you aren't a poison axe bandit. Speaking of bandits, there's more of them now. I think you actually did. That is really smart. However, it will not avail you because Zihak to the rescue, literally. And Aaron literally to the rescue. Okay, so that's 2 of them saved. That guy still really needs to die, though. But we do have 2 NPC... can't quite. Okay, so it's time for Vika to the rescue in a completely different way. That is shielding this guy with her body. She sometimes ends up having to do that, and... sometimes Tormod one-rounds one of these guys, sometimes he doesn't. And sometimes these guys ignore Tormod entirely and just focus on getting to the NPCs. So let me just check something. 8 and 9. So if they both hit him during the enemy phase, that's fine. So yeah, Tormod's going to go ahead and just use regular fire here. Sadly, can't even crit them. Sadly, he doesn't have any activation skills to use, so this guy's going to live. Which is not good because, as I said, these guys like to avoid attacking you and focus just on going to the NPCs. Now, I was going to have Micaiah go down here, but then I just realized there's actually a Wyvern Rider reinforcement that spawns down here soon, so Micaiah would not like to deal with that. It'd be nice if Thanning was effective against Wyvern Riders, but it's not. Now, at this point, I would very much like to have Nyla go away so that all these guys attack Edward instead of her, but let's just do this. Also, I can show this. Glare, 33% hit rate is actually kind of decent, but why would you do that against this guy who could just kill him? I thought you'd do that! This is our first instance of an enemy instantly dies skill. So if you can actually see the full damage number there, that would be something massive, because that's triple strength, and it also halves the enemy's skill for 1 turn, but it's not like you'll ever see that have an effect, because the enemy is just dead. That's really just how things go with mastery skills in this game. They all have a secondary effect that you'll never see because the enemy will just die. Don't even know why they even put the secondary effects in the first place. I was hoping you'd do that. Be prepared to see a lot more Wind Edge criticals from Edward from now on. And you're hopefully going to die to Edward, so that's fine. And Volund can just, let me try something. I don't think I need to rescue you right now, so for now let's just drop off you there. And then let's see what we do. I think Soth is going to go down here and not do much. Actually, he can do something with his Beast Killer, but that's the only thing he can do something with. Also, these are considered evasive / defensive terrain. I could try for the Iron Poleaxe here. I'm going to go for it. Yeah, thought so. That's unfortunate, though. And there's Resolve, which means that attack had boosted hit rate because his skill is now increased by 1.5 times. I like the way that Poleaxe weapons look in battle, and yeah, so Nolan's stats are now kind of crazy thanks to Resolve. Soth can now start doing this. In fact, I'm gonna just go ahead and use the Beast Killer here. As I said much earlier, the Beast Killer is just a really good knife in general. Even against non-beasts, you really want Soth to have this. It's extremely useful. Okay, so things are finally... I don't want to speak too soon, but things are finally starting to look up for us in this chapter. But as I said, I really don't want to speak too soon. And I could have Raphael do that. The only enemies here are mages, after all. And, I mean, it's not like they're going to crit him, because his luck is stupid. And it's probably going to be more effective than chanting from Micaiah anyway, so let's just do this then. And I'm going to make sure to get the one who... This one right here, because this is the only one who can reach Nyla, and thus not die on the enemy phase. Now, Edward being in slightly up biorhythm does give him a bit of an increased chance back then to cancel, which is good. Nice dodge roll there. Yeah, even though the official terms for biorhythm are, like, worst, bad, and, best. As you can see here, Thunder is pathetic. And Raphael has a surprisingly large amount of HP for a Heron, which is pretty cool. And I'm glad you did that. I'm not glad that you jumped in the evasive terrain, though. But I'll still probably be able to finish you off next turn. If I haven't already said it, I love the way that Tormod's Sage model looks like in this game. I wanted you to do that. Congratulations, you don't have 000 against Nyla, but... Enemy. Instantly. Dies. It's funny because Savage was called Majesty in the Japanese version, so they kind of made it have the opposite meaning of what it did in that version. And we get to see a kick. Tiny Bird Kick. You know, it's funny because isn't Chun-Li voiced by Laura Bailey, and I can actually kind of imagine Vika being voiced by Laura Bailey, although Laura Bailey hasn't been doing a lot of voice work in games lately, which is a shame. I thought that hit rate would be terrible, but I might have to go for it. Now, I have an opportunity to show off how good Z-Hawk is, hopefully. Yeah, even carrying someone, he still has a 99% hit rate on you, and might as well do that. Please critical. Or adept. Or adept and critical. Neither. Dang it. Well, at least he didn't get poisoned. Okay, so... we're doing okay when it comes to rescuing the NPCs. Speaking of which, got you. Now Vika can afford to not have to body block the enemies. And now Edward can just... I'm not going to go in the reeds because... and one-shotting mages because Edward's strength is amazing. There's the completely useless cancel. But yeah, not going to go in the reeds because I want Edward to be closer to here because I think there will be more reinforcements. Ah, can't quite lure you into dying, but you are probably higher priority for me to use Nyla on. The only real use of Glare is to petrify priests and just use them for free experience. Because their staff effects of restoring their health every turn will still work while they're petrified, and that gets fun, because they'll just keep healing themselves. And petrified enemies have higher defense, because, you know, they're stone. That's generally the only way I've ever heard people have been able to train, That was incredibly lucky. Finally get to see Aaron's, victory pose, and I really like the Halberdier victory poses. And let's just burn you. Tormod will need to burn something else next turn. Now, I don't want to speak too soon, but this is going very well, to quote Caleb. It's funny that I say that after I use a fire spell on someone. Alright, now... Okay, we've got quite a lot of people who can move. And I will definitely need to kill that priest, because priests are always the #1 enemy to route chapters. You're going to be transformed soon, but transforming doesn't really affect much for Raphael. It at least makes him a better magical tank, but... and it also helps because... Okay, so there's something in this game that I'm sure everyone in the comment section wants me to show off later on. Let's just say that Herons aren't entirely defenseless in Radiant Dawn, but I don't have the item that I need to make that so. But as I said, Herons are not entirely defenseless in this game. And many, many people probably want me to show that. So, is it like here? No, or I could have just got unlucky, so yeah. Not really sure if that's the spot or not. I'll have to look up the exact coordinates, like I said, and let's just go ahead and grab you, just to get you to safety. Can't really sacrifice Nolan up to high HP. As much as I like Resolve, I think I'll need to do this. And might as well cure your poison. Resolve is going back on Micaiah after she gets level 20. Now Adept or Critical or both, please? Well, you got poison. And there's the crit. So glad I brought Zeehawk to this chapter. See, having both Edward and Zeehawk on the same map is beneficial sometimes. And poison. And this guy. So, yeah, I'm glad that I got most of the NPCs down here out of range, because otherwise this might be a problem. And great, you spawned with up biorhythm, which is why I like to call that, if you can't already tell. Yeah, I like to call it down, 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 up, and up, up. Thankfully, no more Wyvern Rider there. Let's hopefully get the rest of the NPCs to safety before... And also, yeah, you've hit S rank in fire, even though that's not really going to help you much. Let's hopefully get the rest of the NPCs to safety before the Wyvern Riders start spawning. And let's shift. And Aaron will... Yeah, let's just get up there and... I don't want to drop the NPC yet. Aaron has barely done anything in this chapter, but he'll hopefully get a little more use in the next one. NPCs are usually safe-ish if they're on the central island. Alright, yeah, Vika might need to go over here. I think there will be more Wyvern Riders spawning from down here soon, so I'll need to just be aware of that. Micaiah will probably need to use her and Herb. And there is, yep, there's a bandit over there, so let's show you what we do to stupid bandits who try to kill our NPCs. We apparently don't one-round them with Edward because of various reasons such as terrain and other things like that. Well, yeah, that was helpful. I would appreciate Cancel being a little more useful here, but... I have this suspicion more enemies will be spawning from around here, so I might keep Nyla in this area. Oh, look, I found one of the coins by chance. Not really by chance, Nyla's skill is stupid, so that's probably why she got that. And yeah, it is skill for hidden item chances in this game, not luck. It was luck in Sacred Stone, so I can see why you'd be confused, and in some of the games, it's actually not even luck. Like, in some of the games for non-thieves, it's just, a flat 1 in 11 chance. I think that's FE6 and 7. But for Sacred Stone, I know that it's luck percent for non-thieves, and in this game, it is skill plus biorhythm plus map affinity percent. I haven't actually talked about this yet, but there's actually a glitch in the Japanese version that let you be pretty much guaranteed to obtain treasure from your leaders. So how it works is if you put your leader on a treasure space and you repeatedly cycle through the order command, then every time you cycled through order and then back to the regular menu, the game rolled for finding treasure again. So through that, you could have effectively unlimited chances of finding treasure, and I didn't realize that everyone got poisoned there. It was just like that one time back in Sacred Stones when I was, that one Lagdo Ruins chapter, where everyone is poisoned. Okay, please. What did I tell you? And this is why speedrunners hate poison, because it wastes time at the beginning of every turn. But now... Oh, I kind of need to accept... No, that's not good. I can't actually reach the... Alright. New plan. So this guy will be guaranteed to kill himself in the enemy phase, so I can do this. Yeah, Edward didn't do his startup pose because he's poisoned. That counts as a similar thing as being heavily injured. I mean, I could try Glare for lols. Also, look at this. Yeah, 8 damage, but no hit rate. And that wasn't even Savage, that was a basic critical. Still Savage, though, in a non-literal sense. Nyla is still insane. I just get this feeling that more Wyvern Riders are going to spawn soon. She probably should have given you the Bob to Volug, but oh well. Let's see what Nolan can do here. As long as the boss doesn't attack him, which, let's be honest, is actually pretty likely. So let me just check something. So, 12, 11. So that's 23 total, and then you have 24 attack power versus Nolan's 42. 12, 11, and 10 is, that is like 33, but if he's there, that's one less from each of them, so it's actually 11, 10, and 9. Which would mean that it's 21 and then 9, which would make it, yeah, 30 exactly, so... Yeah, and I don't think any of you have crit rates on Info. But just to be safe, I'm going to use Anthem. Which space did I check for the treasure? Was it there? I can check here. Nope. Like I said, I probably need to get the coordinates up. And finally, you transformed. So you can finally do that. And Kanzo. And Z-Hawk is stuck in the swamp meanwhile. Let's just for lols do that. Oh, right, I haven't shown this. Yes, they normally are bore fighting, but not when they're playing children's card games. That will all make sense later. You're also literally blessed to have him at your side, because he still has Blessing. And Blessing is not considered a mastery skill in this game, or at least I don't think it is. And it does the exact same thing it did in Path of Radiance. So, Sacrifice plus Blessing is actually kind of useful. Sacrifice and Blessing seem very similar in what they do. I wonder if that implies anything. Just in case Wyvern Rider spawned down there, I might send Volug and, do you have a... Yeah, you've got that Volug I stole from the boss last chapter. Good, you took the bait. Just like we did when we came here. Okay, my hit rates are not the best. 12. That's more than I thought you were doing. I still think I'm okay. Okay, because I forgot to even take into account weapon triangle with the lance, so this should be fine. I hope those aren't famous last words. Yeah, that's 11. And my stats against you are ridiculous. You probably have bad biorhythm. Doing pretty well here. Yeah, you'll notice that there's been a very sharp drop-off in experience on my promoted character. I hate you guys. Yeah, 8, and I'm probably gonna... No, I did not dodge. But I have resolve now. And yeah, it will show the resolve animation for every attack, and the reason why it does that is because, as I've said before, in the Japanese version, resolve was not a guaranteed trigger. So it needed to show resolve's animation. And I love Blessing's animation in this game. That barely did anything, though. Oh, also Raphael can transform now. For what it's worth. Probably have to do this. Though I really hope that I can hit you, because if I can't, then that's really terrible. You know, depending on... I can't quite get into where the boss is, though, so... And you're a boss with Alpha Unknown 18 crit, and Nolan has 14 luck, so I don't want to risk the chance of being critical by that. However, I can at least show what Raphael looks like transformed. He can still chant after transforming, yes he can. Also, he can rescue Micaiah, which is kind of silly. And just like every other Laguz class, Heron's stats besides luck and HP double on transformation, so... Really all that means is better magical tanking, better chance of dodging, and better I am not guaranteed to hit you. That's actually really bad. I should have had Vika go next to you just so that I could potentially... Or Aaron, that was really stupid. Okay. See, alternate... Oh, you can attack Raphael. You'll probably do that. I really don't want to lose this because Micaiah misses a 91, but I guess I have to go for this. I could have just healed her, but... Oh, please don't dodge. Thank you. It would have been a really, really low chance on a true hit, but yeah. So finally, this side of the map is clear. I kind of want to trade Nolan the concoction, actually. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and try and throw sharp objects at this priest here. Which sounds really bad, but I have to because this is a route map. It's only taken me a little over 30 minutes at this point, so yeah, when done right, this map is pretty quick, but it's still one of my least favorite maps in the whole game. Seahawk is still stuck in the swamp. Barely got to do anything. Yeah, you go down there just in case we get Wyvern Rider reinforcements. I'm so glad the reinforcements in this game are not ambush spawning, because that would be just really, really... I don't even want to think about what it would be like if that was the case. Don't know why you ran up that far. No, it's just that we're pretty good and we've all promoted recently, so we're kind of on a morale high. Please don't fucking... Thank you. That would have been terrible. Speaking of morale high, I kind of like the new morale boost system in Valkyria Chronicles. I thought something like that might happen. But yeah, I've been playing the demo of Valkyria Chronicles 4, and I like the morale boost system. Oh boy, okay. I have an idea though. You're still probably not gonna... Okay, so Nolan whacks the boss. That's my first item. And Nolan only has an 84 hit rate at most. I'm gonna try some Iron Poleaxe against you, but... No. Let's instead just go for the best possible chance here. Come on, Nolan, don't fail me now. There we go, good. So that's the main threat out of the way. And he just looks like a generic Thunder Sage. Okay, good, defense. Maybe promotion will make your defense stop sucking. Allowed to what? I'm sorry I can't hear you. Oh wait, you're dead. Yeah, I will have to do this just in case. Thankfully, you two aren't any threat to... Yeah, if I hadn't rescued the NPCs, 2 of them would have been in danger right now. So I'm glad that I did. I have this sneaking feeling we're getting reinforcements from here, so I'm going to keep arrowing around here for now. I guess Micaiah can try and heal Edward's poison. Enough for a level, thankfully. Almost cap magic and resistance. Once you do that, then I can start trying to work on your other stats with bonus experience. Or not, because, like I said, Chapter 1-9 is pretty much just a Micaiah training fest. It's really the main reason that map exists. There's not all that much that I can do at this point. Other than just wait for these Wyvern Riders to destroy themselves, hopefully. Or do that because they have ranged weapons. But at least I've saved all the NPCs. That was a very roundabout trajectory you took there. Okay, come on, Nolan, please crit. That would be nice. Well, the boss didn't crit with a 2%. It's only fitting that I don't crit with a 3. Okay, good. No reinforcements. However, I really need you to... That's exactly enough. Nice. Please don't miss either of these. I shouldn't have said that. And epic dodge roll, which he still keeps in promotion, thankfully. And yeah, this is over now. Good. I am going to have a lot of fail channel here, but my one successful attempt thankfully went pretty well, so I'm glad for that. And it doesn't look like anyone else can gain much experience here, so let's hopefully... I mean, I could go for the arm scroll, but... Unless this is the arm scroll. Might as well. You still have a shot at finding items even after you kill the last enemy in a round chapter. Annoyingly, there's a treasure in a later chapter that you actually have to bank on a random chance after you kill the boss in a defeat boss chapter, and you can't do it with a thief. You have to kill the boss and then canto onto the space the boss used to be standing at. It's really annoying. So if I don't get that treasure later in the game, don't blame me. And no arm scroll. It's probably fine. And we cut right to when everyone is back to camp. Well, you succeeded, so hopefully he doesn't chew you out for it. And we saved all of them. Do you hear it? Do you hear the people cheering? They're celebrating the return of the silver-haired maiden Micaiah. This is going to be really great for morale, and also, yes, Radiant, that is definitely a reference to this game's title. Or at least only in the English version. Because in the Japanese version, this game's name is Goddess of Dawn. And yes, Priestess of Dawn, I like the fact that Micaiah can't actually hear this. The whole smile and wave thing. Another Ike parallel. And like I said earlier, these are very deliberate. And they actually did give her a model of waving. It's at this point that I'm picturing one of the Daein soldiers foaming at the mouth and fainting. I can really see that happening. You probably all know what I'm referencing there. Apparently that scene that I'm referencing only existed because an animator got very creative. That was apparently not in the script at all. I like this song though. This is a pretty nice song for quiet moments like this. However, the quiet moment is about to be interrupted. Well, Soth knows what these are. It looks like it's in its early stages, which means there might be hope still, but... Thankfully, it was only early stages. By the time we got the Galdra of Rebirth to Rajion in the last game, it was already too late for him. But yeah, this is the same thing that Raisin and Leanne did for Ashnard's Mount at the end of the last one. Yeah, Soth's heard that before. Again, I wonder what type of branded Micaiah is. So, more recaps on Path of Radiance. We stormed their base of operations and thought to have destroyed the majority of the, we probably destroyed most of the elixirs that transformed them. Oh. So, you're admitting it. Okay, that's good. We can now just stab you. Like I said, we know this from Path of Radiance due to cutscenes, but no one in our army directly saw Izuka in that game. So, they didn't know until now that he's actually the one who created the Feral One drug to begin with. This was why bringing Laguz into this army might have been a bad idea. Thankfully, they didn't find out about Volug. Now, at least Peleus is correcting himself there. Please just expel him from the army now. Yeah, congratulations. I think you may have just cost us one of our allies. Great job there. Very sudden cut, but yeah. Here we are in Bennion. This palace hasn't changed all that much since the last game. Lekain, however, has removed his hat. Well, you admit that at least. Oh yes, of course they were. I actually like this aspect of the plot, though. It's really interesting that these senators, once they realize they can't hide what's going on in Dain any longer, they decide to throw Jarod and his army under the bus. They take advantage of the fact that the Senate is technically separate from the occupying army, and they're like, ah, yeah, it's them. Or it's all their fault, we had nothing to do with this. So, actually catching the senators on this is going to be a little trickier than we thought. Also, Sanaki seems to have grown a little bit in 3 years. No, if we do that, then things are going to go very badly. Congratulations, senators, you're now screwed. And of course, obvious villain music is playing. It was pretty clear in the last game that Lekain was not a good person, but it's only in Radiant Dawn that we start to realize he was much worse than we feared. So, yeah, they're throwing the occupation army under the bus for their crimes. Like I said, I do find that pretty interesting. So, with that chapter over, next chapter's gonna be very, very unique, let's just say. Eight damage to promoted Nolan is pretty bad for a mage, but oh what? Mages suck in this game. Should remember that. Okay, Raphael probably needs to get going now. Oh, damn it. Yeah, I have to restart. Forgot about that. If you don't kill that Wyvern Rider on the first turn, you are 100% screwed here when it comes to saving the NPCs. That's a really cruel trap. Also need to make sure to kill that bandit quickly. And true to form, I already failed this once, so I just remembered why I hate this chapter so much. Unless you do a very specific move on the first turn, you are guaranteed to lose an NPC here. See this Wyvern Rider? If you don't have Tormod lure and kill him on turn 1, he will move into a position where he can guarantee a kill on any of these two NPCs. So, you have to do this. Shove Tormod. Tormod go... what? Unless Vika also has to shove Tormod. What? Are you missing Jill already? I know I am. I dread every single enemy phase in this chapter. Can I even stop you? Actually, wait a minute. Oh! Why can't I shove you? I should be able to shove you. Why can't I shove you? You have 18 weight and you have 23 weight. Why can't I shove you? That's really weird. Why can't I shove? Yep, there it is. I either need to kill that guy earlier or find some way to get to that NPC faster.